Much like the legendary quest for the fountain of youth, the quest for a miracle diet continues as well. Every year, new trends emerge, promising the secret to shedding pounds without sacrifice or effort. But what's really behind these claims? Are they really the breakthrough that they promise to be and that we've all been waiting for? Or just another detour on a long and winding road? Today, we're going to separate fact from fiction and give you the tools to make smarter, healthier, and more long lasting choices, as well as answer your questions about weight loss here on this episode of Ask the Doc.
Send in your questions to questions@allhealthtv.com or AllHealthGo on Facebook or YouTube, or visit the Ask the Doc page on our website, allhealthtv.com.
Welcome to Ask the Doc, the show where we encourage our viewers, you, to send in your healthcare questions. I'm Dr. Kamaljit Kaur, a primary care physician here in beautiful South Florida. Today's first question comes to us from Dimitri, so let's jump right in. Dimitri writes to us from our website, allhealthtv.com, and Dimitri asks, "Hey, Dr. K, I come from a big family, not just in numbers, but size as well. As such, I'm at a point where I really need to lose some weight. Having said that, I'd like to know what you think is safer, those new drugs like Wegovy or something like sleeve gastrectomy surgery." Hi, Dimitri. That's a really excellent question. With all the advances that we have in medicine, there are a lot more options now than there were several years ago. Now, since you mentioned your family, I want our viewers to recognize that obesity is a complex medical condition, and there's a lot of factors that contribute to it. So, environmental factors, but also genetic factors. Genetics is actually one of the main factors. In fact, studies in the last 5 to 10 years have shown that there are several genes that are related directly to one's risk of developing obesity. That being said, it's really important to recognize that the treatments for obesity should focus on a variety of factors, not just one or the other. Though we cannot change our genetics for the most part, there are other aspects that we can control. Treatments like medications and surgeries are certainly viable options. So, just like many factors come together to create or develop your risk of developing obesity, many factors need to be considered before determining which treatment is best for you, medications or surgery. Depending on your actual weight, your overall health, your lifestyle, and your preferences, medications may be an adequate treatment. Now, sometimes surgery is actually the best answer. Which one is it? Well, that all really depends on your personal health. To discuss this more thoroughly would take a lot more time than we have here today, but I encourage you to talk to your primary care physician to see what is the best option for you. Now, since you asked specifically about Wegovy and weight loss surgery, I want to say that both of them do have their risk of side effects and their risk of complications. Some of these side effects may be as mild as nausea, which may go away over time after the surgery or after being on the medication for a little while. But some complications or risks may be as drastic as surgery-related infections that can become quite drastic and complicate your health in general. Now, again, the best answer on which one is going to be the adequate treatment for you really depends on your personal risk and your personal health. So do talk to your primary care physician about it. All right, let's get to our next question. This one comes to us from Annika, and she reaches out through YouTube. Thank you for sending in your question. Dr. Kaur, I'm on the fence about something. My divorce finally went through. I'm a single woman again, and I want to start dating. But before I do, I'd like to lose a little weight. Back to the fence. Some of my friends are saying I should do intermittent fasting, and others are suggesting calorie reduction. What do you think works better? Thanks for reaching out, Annika. This is a great question. And honestly, because I've pondered it sometimes for myself even. So it is something that we get commonly asked by our patients as well. Now, even though a lot of people may think that intermittent fasting is essentially calorie reduction, they're both very, very different. And there's so much more to it than just that. Many studies have now shown that intermittent fasting can have several benefits. So, reduction in inflammation, increased energy levels, anti aging benefits, reduced risk of some cancers, and improved memory and concentration and brain health overall. And then, of course, last but certainly not least, weight management and weight reduction. Now, this is due to the complex mechanisms that take place in your body when you are intermittent fasting. And just to kind of, I guess, revise a little bit of what intermittent fasting is, it's when you are fasting and all you're intaking is water for the most part. Some people like to drink coffee without milk or without creamer or sugar in it, but essentially it should really just be water that you're taking in. So you're fasting for a prolonged period, and the recommendation is at least 12 hours. Now, that recommendation is going to differ for everybody, but generally that is the term that those are the parameters that we think of when someone tells us that they are intermittent fasting. Now, on the other hand, a person can certainly reduce their intake of food and intake of calories. So, for instance, if you're intermittent fasting and you only eat 1 or 2 meals a day, and in those 1 or 2 meals, you're only getting about 1,200 calories, somebody else who's not doing intermittent fasting but is doing calorie reduction may have a little meal every 3 to 4 hours, and it's still totaling that same 1,200 calories. So, really, the method of doing it is different for each of them. When you're doing it that way, you're not getting the benefits that we've seen with intermittent fasting. Now, in a healthy individual, they both work adequately when combined with a proper intake of whole foods, mostly plant based foods, no processed foods, and don't forget exercise on a regular basis as well. So, which works better? Well, that, like most other things, depends on your individual health status, the health risks that you may be exposed to, and your preferences as well. I know some people who have tried intermittent fasting, my husband, for instance, and they just don't like it. And it's not something that's sustainable with their lifestyle. So that's also something that's really important for you to discuss. Now, for some individuals, I do recommend that you do at least a 12-hour fast if you're going to do intermittent fasting. For individuals who have chronic conditions, though, like diabetes, heart disease, thyroid disease, that's a different situation. And I really want you to talk to your physician before you do any kind of calorie reduction, whether it's just reducing your portions or whether it's doing actual intermittent fasting. The mechanisms that happen in your body with these scenarios can affect your diabetes, your heart disease, your thyroid metabolism. So you really want to make sure that you're doing it safely. So always talk to your doctor first. All right, we've got another great question, and this comes to us from YouTube, and this is from our viewer, Reggie. Hello, Dr. Kaur. I've been on one diet or another since I graduated college. The zone diet, alkaline, ketogenic, low carb, you name it, I've tried it. But they've never really worked, and I never felt like I was getting healthier. What are the potential risks of fad diets, and why do they often fail in the long run? Hi, Reggie. Thank you for reaching out to us. This is a wonderful question. But before I share my thoughts, let's check out this video from our friends at the Mayo Clinic.
Raw food, detox, cabbage soup, the list of fad diets is long. Mayo Clinic family medicine specialist Dr. Summer Allen says many fad diets work by drastically slashing calories.
If anybody calorie restricts themselves to 500 to 600 calories in a day, they're going to lose weight.
But she says severe calorie restrictions are not realistic long term.
And for a lot of people, restricting themselves from things in the long term, they end up craving it even more.
Dr. Allen says successful, sustainable weight loss is all about lifestyle changes. Fill your plate with fruits and veggies, whole grains, and lean meats. And definitely get moving. Be more physically active.
Start small. So start with a day a week as far as your activity level, and then work toward the 5 days or 6 days a week of activity.
Sure, fad diets may help jumpstart your weight loss goals, but for long-term success, focus on healthy lifestyle changes. For the Mayo Clinic News Network, I'm Vivian Williams.
It's a wonderful video with a lot of good information regarding fad diets and what should be done overall to lose weight in a healthy way. Now, fad diets, most of us are guilty of them. I know I've tried them when I was in college. The Atkins diet was around back then. And then, of course, you have low carb, low sugar, this, that, and all the things that Reggie mentioned. Now, why are they so bad? Or what's up with fad diets? Well, let me start by saying that the only management method that has been consistently proven to be helpful in losing weight and maintaining weight is a plant-based whole foods diet that limits and really cuts out processed foods, red meat, things that really aren't healthy for your body on an ongoing basis. And in combination, just like Dr. Allen said in the video, a regular exercise routine. Now, these are the things that they're not a fad. This is going to last and it's going to give you long-term results. The thing with fad diets is that they tend to, excuse me, focus on just one aspect of weight management. And as I mentioned earlier, losing weight, you really have to think about a lot of things. It's not just one thing that you focus on. And those fad diets tend to just focus on one thing, restricting calories or restricting certain types of foods. Keyword here being restricting. And additionally, they tend to neglect a lot of other important aspects of nutrition, like the keto diet, for example. What about fiber? Fiber is really, really important, but I'm not sure that the keto diet really addresses that and the necessity for it. And then other restrictive and fad diets may also pose a risk for nutrient deficiencies and vitamin deficiencies. If you're not getting enough calories, you're not getting enough nutritious foods in whatever it is the diet that you're following, then you're going to be lacking in a lot of vitamins like vitamin A, vitamin D, vitamin K, vitamin B12, zinc, magnesium. I mean, the list goes on. And once you're deficient in one or more of those nutrients, then your body starts to react. You start to have symptoms. There may be actual health complications. So that is something that's really, really important that we need to consider. And then after a short while, because the restriction just feels so negative, after a while, a person just says, I can't keep doing this. I can't keep restricting myself. It doesn't feel good. And then, of course, your brain wants to let go of that. There's also a large psychological component to weight loss, which I think a lot of people tend to ignore or really not even know about. And when you start restricting your brain or you're restricting yourself to something that you may have previously enjoyed, that's going to have a really, really negative effect on your psyche. And then the chances of you continuing that activity are going to be really, really low. And overall, we want to be healthier, we want to be happier, and restrictive diets just aren't the way to go. And it's normal to want to try things with your diet and changes, but don't do something long term that's going to have a negative effect. Again, the best way for weight management and weight loss is a healthy diet that's full, eat the rainbow. They always say eat the rainbow, right? So you want to be full of vegetables and fruits and lean proteins that are giving you all the nutrients that you need. You want to be physically healthy, emotionally healthy, and mentally healthy. And you will notice that when you start doing it the right way, that is going to happen naturally. And then you're just going to want to keep doing it and keep being healthy. All right, in case you missed it the first time, here's where you can send us your questions.
Send in your questions to questions@allhealthtv.com or AllHealthGo on Facebook or YouTube, or visit the Ask the Doc page on our website, allhealthtv.com.
Okay, so our next question comes to us through Instagram, and this is from Trish. And Trish wants to know, Dr. Kaur, I've heard that things like grapefruit, green tea, chili peppers, and apple cider vinegar are considered fat-burning foods. Is this really true? Hi, Trish. That's a great question, and thank you for reaching out. I think it's really important that we talk about this. Before I get into a more detailed response, I want our viewers to know that there's no one food that specifically kills fat cells. I know, just like fad diets, that's something that's also sometimes misleading and out there in social media, so people might misunderstand or misinterpret it. There are, however, a variety of different foods that have different mechanisms that promote the natural mechanisms in your body to help with fat loss and prevent fat deposition. So let's talk a little bit about it. Now, grapefruits in particular. I love grapefruits, especially when they're nice and cold and they're in season, they're a little tangy, just perfect. They're rich in fiber and in water. Now, if you watch the show regularly, you know that I hound on fiber a lot. I think it is the miracle nutrient, honestly. So with fiber, you're going to feel full longer. Also, grapefruits have a large content of water in them, and that is going to make you feel full longer as well. And these two substances are primarily why grapefruits are a great part of your diet and nutrition when you're trying to manage or lose weight. Green tea. Green tea is really good and it's a better source of caffeine than coffee. It's a more natural source of caffeine and it may increase your metabolism. Some studies have found it may reduce your appetite and it does it through the mechanisms of the caffeine. It may also prevent the absorption of fat through the GI system, and it works in doing this by a plant compound known as catechins. Now, those are naturally found in green tea and other foods and fruits and vegetables, so that's something that's really helpful as well. All right, apple cider vinegar. Yeah, I know this is a very famous one, and I am guilty of it as well because there was a time when it was all about apple cider vinegar. Take a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar, and you're going to lose 2 pounds a week and whatnot. Well, let me tell you, I tried taking a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar once, and it was not a pleasant experience. I don't recommend anybody do it. Now, we still hear about this constantly, and even though it's a quite popular one and it's believed to prevent fat deposition and improve metabolism, there's really no consistent studies that show that this is a good fat burning food. So I would say maybe just leave it for your salad dressings. Chili peppers. Well, chili peppers contain a compound called capsaicin, and this compound can actually promote a feeling of fullness. It increases your metabolism. It can improve your gut microbiome, which is the center of everything, honestly. But just like apple cider vinegar, there's really no consistent studies that prove that chili peppers are a really good tool to lose weight. Again, they should be part, and they can be a part of a nutritious diet and a food plan that's going to help you manage and lose your weight. So, while some of these foods may have some mechanisms that help, there's really not one food that's going to do it all for you. Eating a whole variety of foods is really going to be your best bet here. All right, friends, looks like we finally have a question from Facebook, and this comes to us from Delta. And Delta asks, greetings, Dr. Kaur. I'm what you might consider a carbaholic. Pasta, potatoes, pie, these are my preferred poisons, if you will. Having said that, is it possible to lose weight without cutting out carbs completely? If so, how can you incorporate carbs into a healthy diet? Hi, Delta. So don't feel bad. I don't know anybody who's not a little bit of a carbaholic. I know I am, but I have something very important to tell you about it. And when it comes to carbs, they have kind of a negative connotation. Everybody thinks, oh, carbs are so bad for me. But there's actually good carbs and there's bad carbs. So the more people know that, the more we can change our thinking and change our nutrition plans to accommodate the good carbs. Now, why are carbs bad or why are they considered negative? Processed carbs like white rice, cookies, cakes, chips, French fries, all the good stuff, really. It actually stimulates your brain's pleasure centers. And that's why it's so difficult to just cut carbs and go cold turkey because your brain says, hey, I was getting this all the time. Why am I all of a sudden not getting it? And then it starts to, it starts to give you some problems and you start to feel cravings and then you start to feel bad about it. And it's just a whole vicious cycle. But like I was saying, if you slowly start to replace your bad carbs with good carbs, then that gives your brain not only the satisfaction that it needs, but also the good fuel to optimize all the mechanisms in your body and to help you lose weight and just be healthy in general. So good carbs, we have sweet potatoes, lentils, beans, whole grains, fruits. There are some fruits that have, good carbs as well. So I would say make a list of good carbs and try to incorporate that into your diet on a daily basis. These carbs are going to help you in the long run. So definitely not a fad here. This is going to be long term. And that's how you can incorporate good carbs into your diet. All right. I'm not sure if this next YouTube question really holds water, but let's take a look. This one comes from Emerson, and he asks, hey, Doc, can drinking water really help with weight loss, or is it just another weight loss myth? Hi, Emerson. I'm very happy you reached out, and this is a wonderful question. Drinking water can certainly help, but it's only one component of a healthy weight loss regimen. As I've been saying, there's multiple factors that are needed, right? But let's talk a little bit about water, the elixir of life, essentially. Being dehydrated or not having enough water can certainly interfere with your weight loss plans and your weight loss efforts. It will be harder to lose weight, if at all, if you don't drink any water. Water actually helps by breaking down fat in the body, and it makes you feel fuller longer. I'm sure you've experienced this after maybe chugging a whole glass of water and you feel a little bloated, but it also increases your metabolism as well. So water is actually really good. And I would say it's probably one of the most important things that you need to do when you're trying to lose weight. Make sure you're well hydrated. Water helps to flush out those toxins from your body too. So, liver cleanses and colon cleanses. Honestly, none of that is needed as long as you're drinking an adequate amount of water on a daily basis. So, as you can see, yes, being adequately hydrated is essential to your weight loss efforts. All right, in case you missed it the first time, here's how you can send us those questions.
Send in your questions to questions@allhealthtv.com or AllHealthGo on Facebook or YouTube, or visit the Ask the Doc page on our website, allhealthtv.com.
We've got another question, and this one comes from our website, allhealthtv.com. If you haven't checked it out yet, I certainly recommend that you do. It's chock full of a lot of good information. And remember, you always want to get your information from credible sources, so check us out. All right, this comes from Margot, and Margot asks, Doctor, what's the science, if there is such a thing, behind cheat days? Do they actually help or possibly hinder weight loss efforts? Hi, Margot. Thank you for your question. Cheat day sounds so negative. I prefer something like a rewards or fun day, but let's talk a little bit about what actually that is. Now, when you're eating healthy on a regular basis, you might sometimes feel like having a cheat day where you're eating all the stuff that you're not supposed to eat on a regular basis: cookies, cakes, steaks, lobsters, all the stuff that's yummy, but we really shouldn't be indulging in. But I assume when you say cheat day, you mean a whole day or a prolonged period where you're allowing yourself to eat all of that stuff. And, that can be good and bad, honestly. And I'll go through a little bit of why. Now, cheat days aren't as harmful as eating those things on a regular basis, but it could still mess things up because for that period of time that you're eating all those things, your body's kind of getting a jolt of sugars, fats, carbohydrates, things that it doesn't know what to do with because on a regular basis, that's not what you're feeding it. So you're kind of telling your body, hey, all of a sudden process all this stuff. And it may not react to that very well. You might get nauseous, you might feel sick, you might get bloated, you might get headaches. There's a lot of ways that your body can respond when there's an onset of something that it's not used to. So let's use our microbiome, for example. Now, your gut is a cornucopia of organisms, and they all work in harmony to really optimize your health, your immune system, your mental health, your physical health, you name it, it's in there. And if you constantly or even all at once attack it, essentially, with foods that are not healthy, then it's going to go out of whack and it could lead to health problems. That being said, depending on how you do it and how often you do it and what types of foods you're consuming during it, a cheat day may not be as bad as we make it sound, depending on what you eat and, if you're eating cupcakes all day, then yeah, but if you have a cupcake on your cheat day, I don't think that's really a bad thing. On the other hand, we always want to be cautious of what we're eating, especially when we're trying to lose weight. Losing weight is such a long journey. It's a gradual process when you do it the healthy way, and it has a potential of a lot of physiological changes in your body. So you want to make sure that you're doing it appropriately and, if needed, under the guidance of your physician as well. All right, let's get to the next question. This comes to us from Miriam and All Health TV. She asks, Shalom, Dr. Kaur. What's the truth about spot reduction? Can you really target specific areas of the body for fat loss? Oh, Miriam, I'm so glad you asked this question. Spot reduction is actually a myth. You cannot just reduce in one specific area of your body fat that you would like to. Now, I know there's a caveat to that: surgery, liposuction, or surgeries to get rid of the excess fat under your chin, maybe, or in the arms. Yes, surgeries do exist that allow for that to happen. And if you're doing it safely and under the supervision of your primary care physician, you want to make sure that what you're doing is good for you and for your body. That being said, besides the cosmetic procedures, there's really no exercise or food that's going to cause spot reduction. So if you have a little excess weight in the belly or excess weight in the arms that you want to get rid of, your best bet is going to be an overall healthy approach. So exercise all areas of your body, all muscle groups, and eat a healthy and nutritious diet. I know it sounds like I say it a lot, but it really, really matters what you do on an everyday basis and how healthy you are on a regular basis as to how it's going to affect your weight management and your weight loss goals. So you always want to talk to your doctor about what is best for you. All right. Well, that was a lot of great questions, and I hope it helped you answer some of yours when it comes to weight loss and weight management. As always, we're happy to answer your questions, so keep sending them in, and I will keep answering them for you. I hope everybody has a happy and healthy day. Thank you for watching.
Send in your questions to questions@allhealthtv.com or AllHealthGo on Facebook or YouTube, or visit the Ask the Doc page on our website, allhealthtv.com.